All right, it's Thursday, May 17th. I'd like to open up the Public Safety Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Haggett.
Here.
Alderperson Benzel.
Here.
Alderperson Yakub.
Here. We need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. John?
I'll move to approve the minutes from 4/12/12.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Rich, I assume you weren't here, so why would you?
Here, so.
Exactly. So let's move on to item number 3. Consider request to conduct the Brian Lautenbach Celebrate Life Fun Run on Saturday, September 29th, 2012 at 9 a.m., beginning and ending at White Camp Park. There is no representative here tonight. So I don't know if you want to speak on it, Eric, but I can speak on it too.
Either way, we've approved it in the past, and they've usually brought on a part-time police officer for the race to help with any traffic control issues, and the Hudson Police Department has not had any issues in the past, so we certainly don't have any problem authorizing the race or recommending having it.
Yeah, they run through Red Cedar Canyon, and they're very respectful in the race, and it's a good race. So let's.
I will move to approve the Brian Lautenbach Celebrate Life Fun Run. I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. On to number 4. Consider the request to conduct Halos of Hudson 5K Family Fun Day foot race on Saturday, August 4th, 2012, 8:30 a.m., beginning at and ending at the bandshell and Lakefront Park. And you're gonna have maps around the table today.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people you can come to the podium and speak.
Hi everybody, I'm Jackie Hartung, this is Kelly. Hi. And we're with Halos of Hudson, and we're a local nonprofit. And what we do is help families that have lost a child. And each of us have lost a child. And we do this in honor and memory of them and to help others as well. I'm a little shaken up. I just got a phone call that another baby just passed away right now, so a good friend of mine. So what we do is very important. What we're trying to do here is establish our roots in Hudson. Last year we did our first run in North Hudson. And I don't know if you want me to read, if you want to take a look, but we do have a letter of recommendation from Chief Richards stating that everything went well and that he highly recommends the city to approve the requested event. I just spoke with you a little bit earlier about what our intentions are. We do realize that we are crossing 2nd and Vine, which are areas of concern, but we would like to hire police officers, and we do have volunteers. And last year we had 550 people show, and not even a hiccup. So
It's a big event.
That's great. Eric, did you have anything you wanted to say, or you're good?
Oh, no, we're good. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Eric, did you want to speak on this?
Yes, I've spoken with Chief Jensen about this event. His one concern was of course the crossing of 2nd Street, which I spoke to you guys about prior to this meeting. And as long as we're able to get some people to help with traffic control on the crossing, it should not be a problem. And in speaking with you, it didn't seem like that was going to be an issue, and we would be able to work something out where we could have officers at these intersections to help with traffic control. And it is unusual to cross back and forth on it twice, but I think given the time of the day that is something that we can certainly make happen and do it in a safe manner to help support the event.
Okay. Is there any need, are you going to have any need for barricades, cones, anything?
we're going to map the route a little bit more, working with people, but I do have access to that as well.
Okay.
I have a construction company, so.
Okay, great. John or Rich, any questions?
No, I don't see, as long as we can handle the road crossings, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, no, you already answered my question, how many people are going to be there. Sounds like a lot, so good for you guys, yeah.
Do we have a motion?
Sure, I'll move to approve the 5K Family Fun Day run.
And I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so this will go to the council meeting on,
30.
I don't even know when our next council meeting is, the 30th, which is oddly a Wednesday. We
Okay.
usually have them on Mondays, but
Okay.
because of the election, things got kind of switched around.
Okay,
So, if you're welcome to come to that, or,
okay.
you know.
Would you like us to pass on the recommendation letter for the file at all, or?
That'd probably be a wise thing, yeah.
Okay, all right.
You just
we'll
give it
do
to
that.
Melanie and she'll put it in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 5, consider terminating agreement with Wisman Hospitality LLC for San Pedro's Cafe, use of city property, the public safety parking lot for dumpsters. Pete Foster is here, if you wanted to come to the podium and speak.
Hi, Pete Foster. My address, 323 Galahad Road North, Hudson, Wisconsin. The owner of San Pedro Cafe. And I got some notice initially from Marty Jensen that our dumpster placement was sort of in jeopardy because of some issues that apparently were happening with the fire department when they pulled in there for emergencies. And I did meet with Mr. Fry here a couple of weeks ago, and we discussed some other options. I certainly understand where those can become a problem. However, we did speak about some other options, moving them more to the south and to the east, I believe, would be the direction. And you know, I'd be willing, obviously, to pay for whatever I had to on an annual basis to keep access to those dumpsters, because as some of you may know, we don't have any other really good options. So, you know, I did speak with one of the managers at Veolia today, and he did guarantee me that they could speak with the drivers and make certain, number one, that they're not scratching up the wall on the safety building, which is obviously not good. And I was unaware of that, unfortunately, until it was brought to my attention. So I'm hoping, you know, we can do something, because we do create a fair amount of garbage and recycling, and we would, I don't know what we would do if we didn't have another option here. So whatever I can do to try to help this situation, I'm willing to do. So I just asked for some consideration with our business there.
That was gonna be my question, is where is our other option for him? I mean, he needs he needs a dumpster.
As far as the police department is concerned, we haven't had any issues with it, but I'm gonna acquiesce to Chief Fry, because he's the one that's most affected by it.
Right. The whole issue was kind of when the downtown's peak time is also when we get the most calls for service. We're struggling with people finding adequate parking in that time frame. Of course, it's an emergency, so we don't have time to drive around and look for a parking spot. So I had a couple ideas, and I visited with the EMS chief, and first off, there's 4 parking stalls at the end. I didn't know if those could come available for responder parking. We also visited about moving the dumpsters along the back wall, along the retaining wall. It'd be farther for them, but take up some of those 8-hour parking spaces along the retaining wall in the east side. It'd be farther for them to cart their garbage.
Where are the 4 spots you just mentioned?
At the end of the stripe zone now.
And who parks there?
It's a 4-hour parking.
Yeah, it's 4 hours.
It's 4-hour parking there?
I used to park there myself. Yeah, they're like directly across from where we're at.
Okay.
They're right at the end, they're right at where the responder parking ends, then there's 4 stalls.
Who, is that utilized? I know we changed a lot of the parking last year.
Right.
So I don't know how utilized that lot is as far as the 8 and 4-hour parking. Is it utilized, those spots, by like all day,
Not the
by
day
employees?
hours so
downtown?
much, not the day hours so much, but in the evening hours.
For not for employees though, just for
Right.
okay.
Yeah, they're 4-hour parking for, public.
Mhm. So if those 4 spots became available, then does the dumpster no longer
Well-
become a problem?
Well, it would help, it would aid in our parking dilemma. And if they could shrink the footprint down on, somehow shrink the footprint down on the, the area they're taking up. Pete has moved since these photos were taken, Pete has moved the linen container,
Mhm.
so that's out of there. And then if we could move, and somehow get those dumpsters tight against the part that sticks out on the wall, there's a brace or whatever on that wall. So we take up a smaller footprint that all can help. You know, the other consideration is the damage to the building or this, you know, scraping of the building.
Right, which is a Veolia thing more than,
Well, yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if that's something that I need to repair, you know, I will,
I have no idea.
I think Veolia might be willing to help us share in the cost of that, but again, I apologize, I was completely unaware. But not surprised, I guess, they're going fast when they're dumping, they're there, you know, three, 4 times a week, so.
Okay.
Now, could, up against the retaining wall, which is further up, but they could be turned sideways and take up one spot, right? But Veolia would have to wheel them out of there if other people were
Yeah,
parked
if
there.
they're on wheels, the current ones aren't on wheels. They're
Right.
skid.
Yeah, over by the library, they have ones on wheels. I see them coming. The driver has to haul it out, but, you know.
They would be able to take the garbage with other cars parked, if they're on wheels, I'm saying?
Yeah, because they pull it out and then they just, you know, because they would pull up, straight up and wheel it out and they just
Yeah.
dump it that way. I'm just trying to think of how we could take up a spot instead of 2 and you still could designate those other 4.
I think we
for-
should still consider those other 4 spots for
For fire,
emergency. I
just
mean, if
anyway.
my house is on fire, I really want you guys downstairs as fast as possible. And if there's nowhere to park, we have a problem.
Just park on the city lawn here. Could do that.
Well, years ago, and maybe Eric can help, we used to park a few cars along Walnut Street, and then for some reason, we had to discontinue that. I don't know if there's a regulation regarding that, or what.
Can we find out from Veolia if they can do the wheel thing?
I know
Or,
we've got wheels at Barker's, they drag them out of our pendant area.
Oh, okay.
Our porch.
same deal, okay.
You have to drag them out to the alley and,
The one thing
You
we
know.
have to be concerned with something on wheels is that lot is all on a slope,
Mhm.
so. But we have to be mindful of how are we gonna keep them from rolling into vehicles that might be on either side of it.
Why can't we do the same wheel concept in the same spot? Instead of them being side by, you know, can't we condense these into one spot in the same area? Because this is the only flat area there really is back there.
Yeah,
And I know it's still taking up a stall, but if we provide more stalls for EMS and fire, I don't know if we can go up by the retaining wall with that
Yeah.
slope.
You'd have to have something to block it.
Yeah, and
That'd be hard for them, too.
I don't know if I want to take that risk.
Yeah,
you know.
that sounds kind of weird.
Is there a way to condense those in that area? I mean, we already, thank you for doing the linen, handling the linen, but
Oh, yeah.
is there a way to condense the 2 the 2 dumpsters in? If we're able to condense it in one stall up above, why can't we condense it in one stall
Yeah.
in the same area?
In addition to those other 4 spaces.
Yes.
Could work.
Anybody? Thoughts?
Can those dumpsters get moved closer together and closer to that part that sticks out?
yeah.
You know, you condense it space-wise that way.
Yeah, wherever you tell me to put them, I'll put them. You know, we do have the 95-gallon recycling for glass there. You know, and those, you know, we could get everything real tight and you know, I could have my rep from Veolia come and meet with me and show him exactly how the stuff needs to be put back and where it needs to stay.
Jim? What do you think?
Yeah, and that's fine. The other thing to go with this is the contract with Pete would need to be outdated in order for the additional recycle containers that are there.
Yeah, and well, it needs to be updated anyways, isn't it expired?
I wasn't sure if it expired or
I thought it expired. Or did I misread?
I don't think it expires.
I don't think there's an expiration on
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
indefinite.
thought it was a
Yep.
2-year I thought it was a 2-year,
I'm not seeing it.
why did I read 2 years somewhere? Maybe it was on something else. Okay, so why don't we give that a shot? Why don't we try and condense those garbage cans up where you should really be the one who points out the location up there. The
Yeah.
best, you and Pete can work that out, and then, maybe, where are those they'd be considered on the north?
They'd be on the south side of the responder parking, striped responder parking area,
Right.
Okay, so I will make
directly adjacent to.
I will make a motion to have the 4 stalls on the south side of the striped responder area be converted to emergency service management park, what is it, what do you call it?
What?
EMS parking,
Yeah, emergency responder
emergency
parking.
responder parking, and, ask that Chief and Pete work together with Veolia to condense those dumpsters.
It's labeled fire department parking, but actually it should be responder parking.
Okay.
Want to add, do we have to update this agreement too, or is
Oh,
that-
yes, please, and to update the agreement to include the recyclable, or whatever is not, the recyclable, and, is that all we need, a recyclable?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
the 395-gallon recycling containers.
Oh, okay. So, you'd have to work that out with Nancy then,
I'm
with the
sorry?
city, with the city clerk, the
Oh,
agreement.
work that out with Nancy, okay,
I believe so, yeah.
okay.
If I'm wrong, she can come to me, so.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you guys very much, I appreciate it.
thanks.
And then Chief, I'll just get in touch with you, or you
Yeah.
get in touch with me, okay? Sounds good, thank you.
Okay. Consider no left turn restrictions on eastbound Cooley Road at Second Street into the Holiday Station store. Alderperson Hoggett brought this to our attention a couple months ago. Go ahead, John, if you want to.
At the particular time, and other people have mentioned it to me, that especially when for me, it's occurred when I'm sitting, waiting, going towards the river, and all the traffic gets backed up. There's a bunch of left people in the left turn lane, and there's people on the right, and there's people trying to come across. Some people will come around the corner and try to go left into Holiday Station, which seems kind of far-fetched, but what happens then is it backs up all this traffic, that traffic doesn't move, this traffic can't move, and the light changes, and we're all just kind of sitting there. So it would seem logical to have some kind of restriction on that left turn, if possible, even for a period of time, even in the afternoon or something. I sat there yesterday for about half an hour from 4:10 to 4:40, and I only saw 2 people turn left, and there was no congestion there. So it might be more of a
Evening.
unique thing, but looking at the safety, this is obviously an intersection that gets a lot of accidents.
Yeah, I was looking at.
I kind of surmise that maybe just a sign at either the left side or the right side of that Holiday Station that says no left turn in here from 3 to 6, or something might be enough to deter people, because there is no sign anywhere that says you can't go left in there. That's as far as I got. But,
Where would you sign that, John, so people could see it?
well, I can pass this around, but if you look at the, Google shot here, there, you can look, I should have made copies, but I didn't. There, on the driveway skirt going into Holiday, you could put it either on the left side or the right side. It's visible from either way.
I don't, I don't disagree with you that corner is a difficult corner for the city. I did speak with our engineer on it briefly, and, there's not really, there's no real best solution for that corner. I questioned if we could widen that street a little at the base there at the corner, so that, maybe cars could go around the person turning left. I don't know, we'd have to take away some of the sidewalk off the Dairy Queen, and as you drive by, I don't know if that's even feasible with the kids and, but, even when semis turn on that corner, they're turning on top of the sidewalk. I mean, it's very obvious. Every time a semi turns, they're hopping the sidewalk. So to me, you know, the corner needs a lot of work. I just don't know.
I'm just thinking that the signs on that side of the street would be confusing to people. I mean, if I'm on Cooley and I'm headed east, and after I've just made my right-hand turn,
Mhm.
and across the street I see signs that say no left turn into station, I don't know if I wouldn't be confused by that. I mean, I don't, you know, when.
Sure, no, I understand. You know, my original thought was to put a little median in there, a skinny one, right where the left turn lane is, so then you physically couldn't do that, but there are many times you can go right there and turn left and nobody's there, so that seems kind of like a
Well, you're hindering their
permanent
business.
solution that we don't really want either, so, I don't know.
One of the issues with signage in that particular area to prohibit the left-hand turn is if a person is turning from Second Street and going east on Cooley Road, there's not a lot of distance to place a sign for that person to notice. And a lot of the accidents that have occurred at Second and Cooley, especially during the day, have involved the semis who are making the turns, the tractor trailers, then clip the stoplight and then knock that over, which is pretty frequent, or the other signage. And I do agree with Mary in the issue, if we do widen out the street, it would cause some difficulty in people traversing that area on the sidewalk, because certainly Dairy Queen gets a tremendous amount of business as the weather warms up. I think it's almost one of those issues where I don't know if we're necessarily gonna best solve it by putting a sign or not a sign, because, you know, Holiday has the two entrances right there. So I don't know if it's an issue that we just kind of keep an eye on here over the next few months, and then try to maybe think of some other ways, or
Yep.
consult some other cities that might have a similar type situation and see how they've handled it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a pretty unique corner, I mean,
it is.
no doubt.
I thought
mean,
about a right turn arrow to clear traffic. I mean, that's just, well, I mean, how many times have we heard it? Wasn't that the first stoplight in Hudson? You know,
It
so,
was.
I mean, it's kind of, that's been there. It's a difficult corner. So I tend to agree with Eric that we should maybe monitor it. I'm more concerned about the semis that hop the curb on that turn than anything else. And it's very evident when you see the curb, it's, you know,
Yeah,
rubbered up, you know,
Absolutely.
so marked up, so. And I don't know, to have the engineer study done would be a pretty penny, so I don't know how we're gonna have to think outside the box, so.
I think it's one of those intersections that are just one of the older ones in the city, that was designed obviously when the stoplights went in, and nobody really expected it maybe to be as busy as it was, or to have those kind of issues at the time. It's almost at the point where if there was some changes to be done or engineering, it would require quite great construction to
Right.
redesign the intersection almost, and then I don't know if that would how that would impact the businesses. Obviously, it would make business for them in general in the meantime difficult, but certainly the flow of traffic into those businesses could be an issue too to consider in the future.
there was an original plan to have a roundabout in there when they were talking about redesigning downtown, but I think we'll leave that for later.
You know, if the Freedom Station would put a V-shaped curb in that exit, which would route traffic either to the right or allow traffic to come in from the right, that would probably stop any left-hand turn from going in there. You know, I'm talking about
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
a concrete V.
Yeah, so people can
which would
come
allow
in,
a
coming down
right-hand turn
Cooley.
and allow an exit on a right-hand turn, but
Mhm.
obviously you couldn't turn into the parking lot.
You could if you're coming down Cooley, though.
You could if you're coming down Cooley, and you could exit, as a right-hand turn, you could exit, but you couldn't get in on a left-hand turn.
You mean like up at Target, and that,
Yeah,
is that
like
what you're
that
talking
one
about?
turn in
Okay.
Target where you can come in.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's a good idea.
How many people do you think will
And
hop
if-
that curb for the first
you know,
couple months?
if the issue is that big a problem, that may be one of the solutions, that might be the best one.
Which would have to be done by the owner of the Holiday Station,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, is it hypercritical? I guess not, but it does get pretty backed up there at a particular time of day. It's kind of like you said, it's kind of like the perfect storm when, if somebody actually does do it, everything just stops, you know?
yeah,
I've sat there going, what are you doing? I mean, look, so.
yeah. It does get, you're right, especially the evening, that whole corner gets backed up in the, between 5 and 6.
So do we just want to watch it then?
Yeah, I
or-
think it's a good idea to watch it, and that's not a bad suggestion, I just don't, gotta check to see if the owner would be on board.
Maybe somebody could ask the owner if they have any interest in doing that to alleviate the problem.
Eric?
We can certainly do that, or maybe that's for city planning too as well, because if it's talking about design
Yeah.
of roadway going in,
Yeah.
we as the police department can certainly approach the owners and ask them that, but as far as like costs or how the city would do that,
Yeah,
I don't think we quite have the expertise for it.
no,
As far as the public safety version goes that we're concerned with, we're on board with whatever the city decides to do to try to make the intersection safer.
okay. We can talk to Denny too and see, I'll talk to Denny and see what we would need to do. Okay, so why don't we postpone this for, how far out do you want to postpone it, a couple months? 1 month, 2 months? John,
Let's say August.
your subject, so
Yeah.
August, okay, so Melanie, if we could put on the
Give
August
us a little more
agenda.
time to kind of see what it looks like.
Yeah, the summer might be the busiest time anyway, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
yep,
If it's a case too where Denny wants us to sit in, or to have the police department sit in on any conversations about it, we'd be more than willing to
okay,
offer our input.
thank you. All right, so we'll have it on the August agenda and try and revisit then and see if we can come up with a solution. All right, number 7 on the agenda is consider request to change the speed limit on Vine Street between Grandview Drive and Carmichael Road from 25 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour. Alderperson Wyland brought this to the public safety agenda 2-3 months ago. Since then, to kind of catch Rich up, we've had obviously a study, we've had studies, well, didn't have the traffic study done per se, because, but we've had, Marty's been looking into everything you can think of for this, as far as, and, so right now we're at a point where we need to decide if we want to go back to 35, which we can do without a traffic study, because that's what the road is supposed to be at, or keep it at 25. Any other change we want to make, we'd have to go into a traffic study, which if I don't recall, it costs $2,000, yeah. So, let's discuss the concept of even moving it back up. The reason why it was moved down, it was moved down a few years back, because crossing to the YMCA was difficult. There was a child hit crossing the road. I think there was another child hit walking on the side of the road. There was 2 people hit over down at that intersection between Diamond and the Y. So there was quite a show here to get that speed limit moved down. So and John and I were not too keen on moving it back up to 35. We're okay with. I don't disagree that you feel like you want to go 35 on that road, but
People do go 35.
People
on that
do,
ride
yeah.
Already. I
but
mean,
it's do we want to, at a safety perspective, do we want to go back up to 35 for a period of road, or do we want to keep it at 25, which apparently we can do since we already moved it? We don't have to move it back, even though we should have had a study before we moved it the first time. But neither of us were on council at that time, so now we're stuck with something that, once again, happened without our control. So how do we want to fix it, or do we want to leave it as such, is basically where we're at.
And the issue was brought up because it's an outlying road and.
That's right.
And under the state law, it's supposed to be at 35, is that what the issue is?
Yeah, and I don't-
or it can be, or that's how it's normally designated.
And I don't know if Lee had someone bring his attention to this, or if he just felt like felt like the need, and I don't want to speak for him anymore, but it was more of, it's an outlying road, and you get this feel that you should be going at 35, and so he wanted it moved up to 30, back up to 35.
His initial request was to change it to 30, and that's when we found out that 35 was the,
Okay,
Got it.
so, and 30 I kind of was all right with, but I think, I don't know, people go faster than 35 down that road
I
even.
was tracking some lady yesterday, and I couldn't keep up to her, and I was going 35. I'm like, wow, these people are just cranking.
Yeah, and
nothing.
if it gets moved back up to 35, they're gonna go 45.
Right, like it is over on Crestview or whatever the
Cooley.
Cooley, excuse me. Yeah, people go 45. I've seen it.
So,
Plus, there's the high school there. There's a, isn't there more than one church? I think there's
Yeah.
2 churches. There's a pedestrian crossing, then there's Stone Pine, and there's the Y. We thought about originally saying from the Y to Carmichael that 35 would be, but I don't know if we could split that.
well, and I think in the last meeting, we left it with, it was pretty much we weren't gonna have an option. It was supposed to go to 35 because it doesn't meet the requirements to be less. But from what I'm reading now, we can leave it. But if we change it to anything, like I said, if we change it to anything else, we have to get into a traffic study. So I'm kind of torn on this one.
I guess where I'm at with it, because of the Y, traffic that comes out of the Y, but there's gonna be a problem with those people getting across the street at 35 miles an hour, there's
Yep.
no question about it, because they back up already at 25.
Yep.
And secondly, the pedestrian crosswalk at the Y does have kids going back and forth. And I don't know for that short stretch why we need to move it to 35.
Right.
I don't know who that benefits or what difference it makes to anybody. So for the sake of safety,
Kind of what John and I were saying 2 meetings ago.
for the sake of safety, I'd be in favor of just leaving it at 25.
Yeah, I that's kind of where I've been at the whole time, and
The
you know,
neighbors
I go up there 6 times a week, so, I mean, yeah, and people do drive fast already, so this would only encourage more.
Do we have a motion somewhere?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to leave the speed limit at 25 miles an hour on Vine Street from Grandview to Carmichael.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on. Review the stop sign on 7th Street and Malibu Drive. Okay, so about 4 months ago, Rich, we had some constituents came in and requested a stop sign or some sort of yield sign, something to slow traffic down going over the bridge. I think there's some young families at the end of that bridge, and they had some concerns, and so we thought we'd give it a trial, stop sign. Since then, I've had about 3 complaints from people over there that the stop sign seems out of sorts. You know, you don't expect to go over the bridge and just stop at a stop sign, and I don't necessarily disagree with that statement, but I don't know. When we put the stop sign in, we said we'd revisit it in 4 months. So here we are. And I don't know if it does a difference or not. And I don't know if you've gone and talked to them in your district. So
You know, I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody, and nobody's complained to me either. It's 3 dead ends, and when you come down 7th Street, you can see the stop sign, so it's not a blind stop sign. You can actually see it when you turn
Yeah.
onto 7th.
it's tall.
So you know you can stop, and then you get up there, and even when I stop today, I'm still kind of having it, because you can't see around that right-hand corner, because now the vegetation has grown in, and so it's so from a person that doesn't know that area, and with 3 dead ends, I guess from a safety standpoint, it pretty much gets me to stop, and I have to look around before I proceed, because I don't even know which way I'm going, and if I go down the hill, I end up in somebody's personal residence anyway, you know, if you go all the way down the hill, and so from that standpoint, I think it's effective. Now, I don't know how much traffic goes down there in particular, and I'm sure the people that live there are probably like, you know, this is probably extreme, but
I'm sure it's not patrolled very often. Why would it be?
so I guess, you know, when we originally looked at it, it made sense. I think it still works, and I think it's still effective. So I don't know what the.
Did you have a chance to go down there at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
Well, for us, stop signs are meant to control right-of-way at intersections if they're an issue, not necessarily to control speed. In fact, they're not supposed to be there to control speed. So if it's an issue of right-of-way, I think a stop sign has its place. If it comes to an issue of being able to see around the corners, which obviously that sounds like that's an issue, being able to see in the particular direction, I think you're talking about looking east,
Both
right?
ways, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Then it might be an issue where we could have the city trim back some of the vegetation to make it more visible, or the neighbors there to bring back some of their vegetation. We'll abide by whatever the city council decides to do, whether to leave the stop sign there or not. But if the issue was to control speed, if that was why it was put into place, then I don't think it needs to be there. But if there is a right-of-way issue, where people are having difficulty deciding which way to go, or if there was accidents, then then I think a stop sign is appropriate. But I don't believe that there has been issues of right-of-way or accidents in that particular intersection. It's a low incident area for police. We very infrequently get called to that particular area for anything.
I think the issue is more of a blind corner. The original request was a mirror on the bridge, or a reflective thing, because I was corrected that it's not a mirror, but that wasn't really feasible. Marty thought it would be a bad idea with vandalism.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom Zuli thought it would be a bad idea with the light reflecting off it, the sunlight. So we scrapped it and said, what else can we do to kind of control the fact that people will need to actually stop and pay attention in that corner, which is, I think, is why the stop sign came about. I could really go either way on this. If it's, I've had, like I said, 3 complaints on having it. They're all from residents who live down there.
Sure.
But you have the residents who've been there for years, and you have younger families coming in. So I think that's the change that's happening down there. So
I
to you, because Rich wasn't here.
Yeah, I mean, and I
Next
certainly
meeting,
appreciate.
Rich has no excuse.
Is there, if we remove it, there's, the safety issue is
find
still, I guess all I could think of is we remove it, the safety issue is still valid, and I'm not gonna suggest cutting down vegetation per se, because that's the railroad track right there, and people might, it's kind of a privacy thing, so, I don't wanna sit there and say, just chainsaw it down, because that might not be a good idea. So if we remove the stop sign and then we go back to no control at the intersection, then, then I guess we're back to where we started. So is there an intermediate solution, or do we just leave it as is? I guess it works as it is now.
How will that stop sign be in the wintertime? Are cars gonna slide through that?
There's always a potential, of course, with any stop sign or controlled intersection.
But
where-
it kind of goes down is my,
Well, that is a possibility. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, that certainly is a possibility if you're crossing over the hill and the stop sign comes. But for the amount of traffic that goes into that area, it's usually resigned to people who live in that particular area and
Right.
would be able to anticipate the stop sign occurring. So I don't think it would come to a surprise as to the great majority of drivers there. So I think people would be prepared and be able to stop adequately in the wintertime.
okay, do you have a motion, John?
Do we need a motion?
Well, you're either gonna keep it or remove it.
I don't know what we would do as an alternative. I think doing nothing seems, there is a dangerous intersection sign there. That's not as visible. We could put it where the stop sign is if we wanted to swap it out. Or we could have a blind intersection sign there where the stop sign is instead, which might be enough to make us say, oh, geez, this is a blind intersection, I better slow down.
I kind of like that idea, better than the stop sign.
So, but I like the stop sign position and where it currently is because it's very visible. So if we swapped it out with a different sign, that might be the answer for those that don't go there and don't know versus, the regular residents.
We could put a blind intersection sign there in that same spot. I mean, like you said, you can see it from starting up. So
Yeah,
even
I
though
was
it's at
surprised.
the
I didn't
physical
know that, yeah.
intersection, you're seeing it as you're coming.
Right.
I'll make a motion to swap out the stop sign with a blind intersection sign.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a rock and roll. Okay. EMS, Fire Department, Police Department updates. We'll start with EMS. Welcome.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim, EB, by the way. I just wanted to let you guys know that we're hiring EMTs right now. We did our first batch on Monday, and our next batch is tomorrow. And then we're also going to be hiring paramedics here pretty soon as well.
Great.
So hopefully we can get them on board and get me a little relief every once in a while too. The other thing that I was going to bring up was just the fact that we're obviously, along with everybody else, running out of room in our building downstairs. We just had to turn our office, one of our offices for our captains that do quite a bit of work, into a bedroom. So we're trying to keep our staff accommodated for those that come in from out of town and at least give them a place to be. But other than that, I mean, I know there's not a whole lot we can do for them, at least right now, but just to kind of bring it to the attention that at least we're getting cramped down there, but,
Do we don't rent the apartment anymore?
no, that was moved, actually
After-
when we moved over here.
Yeah, okay.
And we're, you know, in the hopes that eventually someday we'll be able to get a few, get at least, not maybe full-time, but more towards full-time. We're probably gonna need more bedrooms if we're gonna accommodate staff, you know, 24 hours anyway at that point, for staff that's gonna be here for 24 hours staying on a regular basis, but other than that, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Jim?
Monday night, we did, fire training, we actually got a house to practice with, and that went well, we drew a crowd. As one might expect. This week we have the second graders coming to go through the hazard house. Every year we borrow River Falls' safety house and talk about escape routes and fire prevention and that kind for the second graders. Our golf tournament is coming up and we're looking for golfers. So anybody that golfs, we'd love to have them. Our pancake breakfast was a success. We had over 1,000 people show up for that day's event.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a great turnout. I appreciate everyone that showed up. We too have space needs, and I want to make sure it stays on public safety's forefront to look for ways that we can create some space for storage of equipment, and we're kind of tripping over ourselves over there.
Which type of equipment?
It's spare equipment, you know, stuff that you kind of like to hang on to, and
I mean, is it
well, like turnout gear, you know, where we can sort it by size, and, you know, we bring on a recruit, we don't have to go through 25, tear the pile all apart to find the right gear to fit them.
how much, I guess what I'm getting at is how much space are you,
You know, I mean, we're wall to wall in there now. And we have stuff sitting on the floor, our aisles are congested. I did have dollars in the budget for a temporary solution, and I was looking at one of those pods kind of things but then be taking up another parking stall.
yeah.
So those are all kind of things that, you know, I've thought about that might help. You know, I'm open to any suggestions we can to create some space or better utilize the space that we might have. Let's see, what else do I got? That would be it.
Okay. Police.
Next week we'll be graduating a class for our Citizen Police Academy, so we're pretty excited about that. It's been a fun run, so we've enjoyed it. Enjoyed having you in the class.
It's been great, yeah, very, very informative for sure.
Good. And one of the things we're working on right now is, it's been a project about a year and a half in the running, but it looks like it's gonna come to fruition soon, is several grants to acquire tablets similar to iPads to be able to use inside the cars to replace MDCs. There are some tablets that are now on the market that allow Windows-based operating systems, which should be compatible to our police software that we use. Right now, Android and the Apple systems do not support that. But now with these Windows-based systems, they may support it. And the bonus of being able to use these particular tablets, they're about a third of the cost of a mobile data computer that goes in a car, which runs right around $3,000. These would be about $1,000. And this grant would be able to buy several of them to be able to test them out and see if they have the durability and capability of being used inside of a patrol car. And if that does prove to be effective, then it's something that will definitely save the city a lot of money down the road. Plus, the officers will be able to bring them out onto calls of service, be able to fill out reports, have people be able to give statements, take photographs with them, and do any number of things that would help eliminate acquiring future equipment or extra equipment, so they'd have to be carrying on multiple things on their assignments and be able to do more things all at once in a more time-efficient manner. So it is something that we're looking forward to hopefully acquiring this grant here within the next month and giving it a test run. So it's kind of an exciting time right now to be able to improve our technology at zero cost, really.
Great, that's good to hear. How, were you working on a grant for cameras at one point,
We're still researching those kinds of grants, and what we're looking at doing with the cameras is combining grants and then using a foundation. Right now, I'm in the process of writing bylaws and mission statements for creating a 501c3 foundation to help support the police department in acquiring equipment, and in combination with grants and donations, using that to try to purchase in-squad cameras. And I'm hoping to be able to have something like that running within the next 6 months. And as far as the grants go, I do have some possibilities where I can get some grants or some donations soon, so I'm optimistic.
Good, thank you, Eric. Any other informational items? Anything? Items for future agenda. I want to talk about, what I forgot to put on this agenda was meeting times. I mean, if we want to stay at this time or not, so. Can't talk about it now because I didn't put it on agenda, so if we could put it on next month's agenda so we can talk about it, that would be great. Anything else for future agenda items? Nope. You do? Okay.
And that's the banning of guns in the public safety building.
Okay. Can we put on the agenda trying to find space for the fire department for their equipment? I have a few thoughts in my head.
If there'd be something we could do as well, we got our one ambulance parked outside right now because we don't have any place to put it in the summertime, because the hospital uses that space in the summer, and then we lose our parking spot of our third ambulance.
To use which space? Well, we can't, okay,
Yeah,
we'll
no,
put it on the next
but,
agenda.
Yeah, extra space as far as our equipment as well.
Okay. All right.
We're both in the same boat, so to speak.
Okay, well, that's why we gotta put them on the agenda and try and figure some stuff out. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.